You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next, it's November 21st, 2022 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Public Works and Safety to order this 21st day of November 2022. President Mayor Dwayne Terry, myself, Virginia Keating, and Mr. Vincent. I called us out of order today. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular hybrid meeting of November 7th, 2022. Do I have any corrections to these minutes?
None here, Madam Chair.
No, I make a motion, we approve.
Support.
I'm going to call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minute dates. The clerk's office is requesting approval of the Board of Works and Safety meeting dates for the 2023 calendar year. Are there any questions, comments, changes to the meeting dates?
None here, Madam Chair.
No, I make a motion, we approve the dates.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the ALCO agreement, the seventh extension of an agreement between Access LaPorte County, ALCO, and the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety for a 2-year contract commencing on January 1st, 2023 and expiring on December 31st, 2024 in the sum of $150,000 annually. Good morning. State your name and address, please.
Good morning, Madam President. Andrew White, Director of Operations for Access LaPorte County. Basically, we're just coming before you today for a 2-year extension of the current agreement, which I believe is originally from 2012, Amber, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, we're just looking for an extension. One of the things that I have been trying to stress to everybody is that we're one of the few vendors that is coming to you without an increase or asking for an increase in the amount that we receive from the city this particular year, but we are seeking a 2-year extension this year.
Okay, are there any changes to this contract from the last one?
I believe the one thing that we did change, as I did a little bit of a deep dive in there, there was one item in the original contract basically that said that underwriters could have their phone number and address on the screen, which is kind of at odds with our most recent directives from Comcast Cable. And so I did ask that we take that out. We are able to give them credit, but it can only be the entity name and their city of operation. So that was the one thing that I did ask Amber.
Thank you.
Change.
Amber, have you reviewed the contract?
I have. Everything is in order.
Okay. Are there any public comments? Hearing none, then are there any board comments?
Just one, Madam Chair. Under the leadership of Mr. White, the performance of ALCO has been exceptional. And at that, if Mr. Vincent has no questions or comments, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Thank you very much.
And
Mayor,
thank you
thank you very much for the kind words. Happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you for the services that you provide. Next item on the agenda is the awarding of bids of the 2022 lease of a backhoe for the Michigan City Street Department. My understanding is that we have not actually received the lease agreement. We've received something that is really kind of a financial request, financial binder, but that's not sufficient for us to go ahead and approve because we do not have a lease in front of us. So Attorney LePage, Stallbrink, do you want to say anything about this?
I would just ask the board to table.
Okay, all right. Then do we hear a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
A call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a change of time. Terry Greetham, Director of Special Events.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, pending this.
Pending, yeah, that's where you wanted to go.
Yeah. Okay, 2 weeks.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
To the next, Gail, to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Come on up, Terry. Terry Greetham, Director of Special Events, is requesting to have the annual Michigan City Festival Lights Parade Saturday, December 3rd, 2022, later to begin at 3:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Go ahead.
Good morning, Terry Greetham, Michigan City Special Events. The parade itself was scheduled to start at 4 p.m. We'd like to move it back to 5 p.m. That would allow the lights, the new lights on Franklin Street to have a little bit more of effect, a little more Christmas feel. The street closure was originally started at 2:30 p.m. We're going to move that back to 3:30, and everything will be done no later than 7 p.m. Right now we have a little over 20 entries, so my guess is the parade's not going to last much more than about 45 minutes. Prior to submitting this, I did speak with Mayor Perry. I also spoke with Chief Steve Forker and Captain Jeff Lineski from Michigan City Police Department, and they were okay with a change.
Okay, same route as last time?
Same route,
Okay,
just moving it back an hour.
okay, thank you. Any public comment? Any board comment?
None here, Madam Chair.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support?
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is an insurance contract renewal. Tanisha George, Human Resources Director, is requesting a contract renewal for medical insurance, UMR, dental and vision insurance, MetLife, and stop loss insurance, Berkeley. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Tanisha George, Human Resources, Michigan City of Michigan City. I am here today to ask you to renew the employee insurance contracts for our medical insurance, which is provided by UMR, our dental insurance, which is provided by MetLife, and the stop loss insurance coverage, which is provided by Berkeley. Our vision insurance, which is also provided by MetLife, doesn't need to be renewed until next year. So that was an error on my part, but the other three do need to have a renewal approval. I submitted to you a lot of information through email, but I think that the most pertinent information for this particular purpose would be the chart that I submitted to you. This particular chart, which is the easiest to read without having to go through all of the other tons of paperwork. And I also have with me Renee Collier of General Insurance Services, who helps us with our insurance coverages.
Thank
If
you.
you have any questions.
Thank you. Have there been any changes?
As far as the medical, there's just an adjustment in the deductible for individuals for the high deductible health plan from 2,800 to 3,000 to comply with the IRS cost of living adjustments for 2023, and also a few changes in the deductibles and out of pockets to comply with the steerage requirements for network through UMR. So just to comply with everything.
All right.
And as far as stop loss, no change in provisions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments? Are there any board comments?
None here, Madam Chair.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support?
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a special purchase request. Sylvia Collins, Planning Administrator, is requesting the approval of the placement of 9 bus shelters and to also purchase 9 shelters for Handy Hut Shelters and Enclosures Company in the amount of $130,615 from ARPA funds and redevelopment funds. Please come to the mic.
Sorry, Skylar York, Director of Planning. Sylvia's on her way down. She's just got here. Sorry, she's running a little late. So what we have here, I'll introduce it and then I'll have her go through. I think she does have some slides. You guys got a packet, I believe. It's got the pictures of the huts we're going to look at ordering. So you guys kind of know a little bit of the history. We've tried to, at one point in time, get these installed in almost like a privatization of our huts. And we could never really get to an agreement with that. It just really wasn't the best deal for the city. So what we've done is we've went to the ARPA committee and asked for to start a pilot program. And this pilot program will probably open us up for some funding later on, but we need to get something started. And it's really more of a proof of concept, if you will. We have the ability right now to purchase the prices of aluminum fluctuate very often right now. And right now we have the ability to purchase some it's a special purchase. We have the ability to purchase these huts for pretty good discount. But it's only good to the end of November, obviously, because then the prices fluctuate again. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So what we're going to do is we're going to purchase 10 and we have 9 spaces chosen. So we'll have one extra. The idea is that should one get damaged or something like that, or we have another ability to, or another opportunity to put another one out, we can do that. So that's kind of where we're at. I forget the numbers. I'm so sorry. She's on her way here, hopefully. The other piece of it is we have money from ARPA and then money from the Redevelopment Commission to construct the project.
Okay.
So,
All right, I have a couple questions. Are you going to be purchasing spare parts?
we will probably should look into that. Yes, we can do that. We will have one extra that we won't put together, if you will, because we'll have to put some of them together. There is some type of assembly required. We probably won't put the 10th one together. So we'll have a few spare parts.
What about installation?
Installation, we'll have to bid that out, similar to what we're doing right. So it's a public works project is how we're treating it.
And installation will be paid how?
We will pay for it through the bidding process, and we'll pay for it with that'll be our redevelopment commission money that we'll use.
All right, and future locations.
Future locations. I'm gonna hand it over to Ms. Collins now and let her go through your locations. And I think also, can you go through like I'm gonna have her kind of go through the matrices of how we chose the locations. It wasn't as simple as it seems.
Okay, all right. Good morning, Sylvia.
Good morning. I do apologize. For some reason it said this was at 9. I was upstairs, so I do apologize. So we have selected 9 different sites. These sites were chosen because they're heavy haul routes, which basically means that they pick up a large amount of individuals and transport them to and from different areas. These sites there was an engineering study that was done to determine the feasibility of these sites, determine whether these bus shelters can be placed here, whether when we lay the concrete, whether or not it'll be stable, whether they'll hold, those different nuances that goes into implementing the bus shelter, but also whether they can be ADA compliant, because that was a significant importance for us as a community to stay compliant with ADA status. So along with the transportation department, which is Robin Tillman, who probably also think this is at 9. We've kind of went through, it started off, I think, with like 19 different sites, and we dwindled it down to 9 that were possible to, implement within the time period. We went through after the engineer study and we got the kind of logistics of what can go there. We got quotes from several different individuals. 3 gave us actual written quotes and about 7 verbal quotes. A lot of individuals did not want to do the perforated paneling, which is more stable, which is more durable, which is more everlasting. A lot of individuals wanted to do glass, but more so because of the material that exists and that they aren't able to get that perforated aluminum. So we found 3 individuals that had that possibility. One still refused. As you can see, one still couldn't only do glass. The other one could only do perforated, but it couldn't encompass everything that we wanted to make it efficient and economically sound bus shelter, which is the advertisement panels, which is the bus bench, which is the solar panels, which could possibly make the bus shelters future digitally. And something else. Oh, the blue and perforated itself. So we only were able to find one company, and this company was very flexible. He gave us large amounts of discount, over $30,000 in discounts. He encompassed everything. So everything that we were looking for, he was able to provide. We've been going through this process with him since August. He actually put the aluminum to the side for us because it's going. Which is why it was important for us to get to you guys in a timely fashion, because the quote will run out. So we have several different items. We also get a discount on freight. freight is normally for his company, $1,800 for each bus shelter. That means that's 1,800 times 10. And we're getting all 10 for the price of one freight delivery. So we thought that was significant, a significant reason for us to kind of choose this vendor. And if you see attached, you also have the quote for him. You also have the style of the bus shelter, the locations that the bus shelter will go at once they are installed. A lot of them are relocated from areas that we thought were inefficient for, the flow of traffic, but also moving them improves the technology that transportation is interested in implementing into the solar panels, using the solar panels to determine the timing and the scaling of bus traffic, so individuals will know when and where and how the buses are going to get to them, basically.
Okay, I did ask a question of Skylar, and that was, are you going to consider future locations?
Yes, so this is just a pilot. And the purpose of the pilot is just to show the success of the actual project itself so that we can all get a visual. We're visual individuals, so we want you guys to see our vision out loud so that we can get the support from everyone to kind of come back and do a second set of sites and the third set of sites, the fourth set of sites. It's just contingent upon the finances that we flow into.
Sure, so this is phase one.
This is phase one.
Okay, all right, is there any public comment? Any board comment?
Madam President, just so you know, Ms. Tillman stopped by my office this morning. She has training, is why she could not be here, but she fully supports this.
And I also talked to her, and I know that she does as well. Are any board comments?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I've been a part of this discussion and review since day one. We've gone through a lot of gyrations of different materials, different details. I've got to say that I think this is a fabulous completion of this effort. Aluminum is an easy material to work with, much easier than steel, or believe it or not, plastic, and more durable. So I think this is really the right stuff for Michigan City. One question, please. You're doing the top 9 and you're looking at a 10th.
Mm-hmm.
When you did your survey of ridership, does the ridership from 1 to 10 versus 11 to 20, does it drop off dramatically, or do we have heavy ridership from all of the spots that you've looked at?
We have heavy ridership I think we started at like 20, maybe 21, but we only got feasible so just to paint a picture, when we're looking at feasibility, we're looking at the sites that we know that we could put down right now, that we have right away for, which is a big thing when you're building anything in the city, that the city needs to have that right away, or else we'll have to acquire it, which takes a larger amount of time, which is what the other sites would need. They would need a lot of those, and they're needed. But a lot of those we need to acquire right away. But it's some foundational things, it's some light poles, it's some where we're going to move it when we move it. So it was a lot of different things. So the study encompassed all of them. So when we get ready to move to the next phase, we'll know, what is needed to be done for the other sites, which are the ones that are going down Michigan Boulevard, which is important as well, because those are some of them are heavier than the ones that we have, but the ones that we have, we know that we're capable of, completing in the pilot, which is what makes it a pilot, and what makes the second portion of it more significant than the pilot itself, though.
Great. So the transit riders in Michigan City can look forward to more.
They can.
Great. Thank you.
I have a few questions.
Please.
I'm sure, and I apologize. I know you've done a lot of homework, so a lot of these
No, it's
questions
okay. I apologize for being
just
late.
for me, because I think it's needed, especially when you see people waiting on the bus I've seen people wait 15, 20 minutes out in the rain.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do they do?
Yeah.
Where do they go? So what are our plans for wintertime snow removal?
So what we plan on doing is kind of, coming up with a maintenance plan. So by the end, the project is time to go out in May. So by the time we get to December, we'll have a maintenance plan, because that is a part, if you look in here, our future maintenance plan is a part of this whole entire project. And that future maintenance plan will kind of determine the responsibility of the cleaning, what the type of cleaning, because then we'll have the material. So we'll have the engineering design. So we'll have a method of how it should be cleaned. But currently we are in the process of planning that. And it looks like that we as a city will probably, the transportation department will take on the maintenance currently of the project and moving forward as well. So we'll help her create the plan. But the transportation department will be responsible for maintenance. And she's in agreement with that as far as implementing this into her current maintenance plan.
Ms. Tillman has a person that, so we already scoop out when heavy snow, we'll go to the stops, but we'll scoop out a very small portion to stand and really unload. The idea is that transitioning that group that does that or that person that does that into really clean. These should be less cleaning than a bank of snow, honestly. So you're not going to have snow in, so you may have some blowing snow, things like that. But Ms. Tillman's prepared to take that on. It was really more about, she's been preparing. We've been trying to do this for a long time. Me and her have, and she's planning on the maintenance. She's planning for that to take care of that.
Yeah, very good. Also, so you answered the install. What does this do to our city liability? Any insurance increases, decreases? Do we have to claim it as something as additional?
I mean, I would assume we treat these sort of like our planters. They're a piece of infrastructure that becomes the city. Someone hits it, I imagine we try to do the same thing. If we get a wall hit, we go after insurance. If a sign gets hit, we go after insurance for that. I'd say you treat it. I mean, I could be speaking out of turn. I think you treat it the same way as any other piece of infrastructure, which is a light pole, a sign pole, etc.
Okay, thank you.
One thing it does do by theoretically putting out bus shelters, people tend to go there because they want to stand there. It makes our bus routes more efficient as well. So it can take out some of those. Right now, we stop. You pull. You stop. Theoretically, people will go stand here. Creatures of habit. It might it's hopefully going to make our bus system a little bit more efficient. Every minute makes a big difference in the bus system.
Sure.
And also kind of to piggyback on that, if it's snowing, they're more likely to gravitate here, placing more of the individuals in this site. I will be, as an individual, more willing to walk a little farther down to the next bus stop if it has a bus shelter, preventing us from, that hazard of flag stopping and, people just waving you down and things of that nature, especially in those tragic weathers.
Okay, thank you. And I guess that probably piggybacks on my next question is, how do you recognize success through the pilot program? What do you need to see to say we can move forward or we can't move forward?
I think that the bus shelter is a success in itself. I think it's an individual success for the city because of the simple fact that it provides provides the community somewhere to protect themselves, giving them the opportunity to see that we're kind of doing things for them. It's a holistic approach to community improvement, community development, community planning. So I think it's a success within itself. And Skylar may be able to explain that on his own, but I think that it's a method of planning. I think that it implements everything that we look at the pillars of planning, that this bus shelter will incorporate that. So I think coming out is a success.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know if there's much else I can say about that. That was good. I think that too, keep in mind, these are heavy rider. All these locations are heavy ridership. So they're already going to be successful because they're either employment centers or places where, they're close to, say, CVS. People are going to these places. These are folks who don't have cars to get and rely on the public transit to get literally to their employment or to pick up their meds or things like that, or go, it's that type of thing. So it's going to be, I'd say these are going to be successful just by the nature of we chose heavy haul routes along with Miss Tillman's help of saying, these are the heavy routes. This is where most of the ridership is going to or coming from.
Oh, I was thinking about data collection and who's the end user. I mean, we aren't the end user. Is there going to be?
Robin collects data on
rider surveys.
They do ridership surveys. Absolutely, they do, and they know whether heavy. We didn't even have. She just told us we didn't choose these. They were chosen by the bus, by the bus.
Data from the bus.
Okay. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Oh, one last question. I guess I'm sorry for going on and on. but our current sites that we have shelters at now, that would be the phase two, so to speak, of replacement if we need to buy larger shelters or.
We've thought about those as well as implementing those in the next phase. It just depends on which ones that's chose. Because like we just said, we're not the ones that are like, hey, we want to take this next 10, we take this next 10. It'll be determined upon the transportation department. If the transportation department think that they will be successful, then those will be the ones that will be implemented into phase two, because ultimately we're just assisting with the planning portion, but they're the data portion. They're the one that's informing us that we won't just be putting a site here that will not be utilized. And some of those existing sites may be a part of this one as well.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for doing your homework and being so well prepared.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you for this giant leap forward.
Thank you.
One last question, if I may. I know you did traffic counts of commuters, and I know there'll be ridership throughout the day, but I also assume that these were sized for the number of people that have to be to work at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. so we don't have the shelters full and people standing outside the shelters.
Well, the thing is, the ADA gives it a specific size. So in order for a person with a car seat to fit, not a car seat, I'm sorry, a wheelchair to fit in there, there's 3 max sizes. We do have the largest size, if that's what you're referring to.
Good.
But yes, there is, and if you go with size bigger or dimension bigger, you're no longer aligning with ADA status. There's literally a size. Even if you call any bus shelter, they can make it smaller based upon ADA, but certain make it bigger, because what happened is that the wheelchair doesn't fit in there properly, and then the bus lays down the flat part in front of it and it blocks the wheelchair. It's dimensional, and it's nothing that we can change.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
I'll second.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent presentation from both of them. Next item on the agenda is the payroll docket for November.
Madam Chair, I'm very sorry. The clerk just reminded me that we need a turn of the page stall, but do we need to also approve placement locations?
And correct, that was the original request.
Thank you.
Oh, so we have approved that with our vote. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you approved the purchase and you approved the location.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Alrighty. The next item on the agenda is the payroll docket for November 18th, 2022. City payroll of $644,198.83. The claims docket of November 21st, 2022 as follows. Municipal claims $1,184,452.73. Health Life Insurance Fund $295,111.56. CDBG, which is the Community Development Block Grant, $30,066.36. Workers' Comp Trust EFT is $0. The total claims $1,513,630.65. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Madam Chair, just a correction, the CDBG was read as 30,000, should be 34.
No, 34. I thought I read $34,066.36.
Motion to approve the claims as stated.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item is the unfinished business pending items list. The first item on the pending items list is the matter of the lease for the superintendent of central maintenance vehicle who had requested to lease a 2022 Dodge Ram 1500 truck, and we were to revisit this today. Is there funding in place on this?
I don't see the controller's office here, so I cannot answer that question.
Okay. Would you suggest that we continue holding this on pending items list till we get an answer to that question?
Yes.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. Okay. In 2 weeks, yes. Next item on the agenda is Kathy Stransky. We were going to install a street light at her location at 223 East Barker Avenue. I believe it was in the alleyway. Is that correct?
Good morning, Board. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineers, 5381 Fountain Drive, Crown Point. Happy to report the streetlight was installed. I took a drive through there and saw it was put up on or before last Monday, the 14th. So
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to hear that's completed. Next item is Tommy Kalavic. Yeah, I'm
Motion-
sorry.
Motion to remove from the
Second.
Okay, call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The next item is the matter of Tommy Kalavic requesting restriping of Ohio Street. This was to be revisited today because Brad, I think you were going to contact Mr. Doyle regarding this.
that's correct. And I have not heard back. My last contact with him was to add it to one of the paving contracts that he had in the works. And obviously we're late in the construction season, so my anticipation would be that would be in the spring at the earliest. So unfortunately, my suggestion would be to table it until first meeting in May.
Thank you.
I will make that motion to table this item till the first meeting in May,
I'll second.
2023.
And then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item is the matter of Dave Bila, 3044 Ohio Street, with his concerns regarding drainage issues in the 3rd Ward. My understanding was that he was going to be having some discussions about this with another department. Is it sanitation? He's working with sanitation. Yeah,
I
Steve
can't
Sanford.
comment on that, Madam Chair, because I don't know. I would say we'd need to table this.
We just leave it on the pending items list then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, would you like to wait?
Why don't we give it till the first meeting in January?
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is Brad Minnick regarding the fee proposal for the Woodland Avenue crash analysis that has been submitted.
Okay, thank you. You should have in your packet the proposal for conceptual engineering for South Woodland Avenue. I won't run through the whole few pages there. I'm just going to hit the high points. The elements included in the scope of work are traffic data collection, traffic and intersection analysis. On the second page there's our alternative analysis and preferred alternative recommendation, 2 deliverables, one for the draft of Woodland Avenue conceptual engineering study, and the second, the final for the same. And then also the schedule. We would be beginning this work in January, and it's approximately 24 weeks of data collection and then sifting through it, coming up with recommendations. And at that point, we would move forward with single preferred alternative. And then the rest of the proposal talks about different assumptions we made to come up with this. And then finally, the last page talks about information required from the city, and I can work with the different departments and also the Midwestern Electric has data in terms of timing for the traffic signals and so forth. And then finally, the compensation. So Primera will provide the described scope and of work and services for a base lump sum of $88,390 for your consideration. And I had just personally a frank conversation with my division manager about this project, because I really hate to come back to you all with, I need this much for this much, this much scope and this much scope. And then basically learned, the more homework we can do on the front end, the better chance we have the right fix at the right time for the right amount of money, right? So we don't want to put any extra bells and whistles on it. So that's what this represents is just taking all the data and rather than giving you something that doesn't fit your needs or it exceeds your needs, we want to do our homework incrementally, right? Along the way. So that's, I'm confident this proposal does that. If we were building a bridge, what I'm trying to say is we don't want to build a Mackinac Island bridge if it's not necessary. So that is really what this proposal represents. We want to whittle down our options, go with the best fit for Michigan City, and then move forward. So.
Okay, so let me just recap. The fee structure that you're talking about is $88,390. And you're suggesting that you begin in January, the project to last for 24 weeks. So that being said, then we probably would need to revisit this, maybe June or July.
In June or July, I would come back with the recommendation.
Okay.
The alternate recommendation. That's correct.
Okay.
So.
All right. Are there any public comments? Any board comments?
Madam Chair, I have had the opportunity to converse with Controller Hoffmaster on this, and she informed me that we do not have the funds to proceed with the work right now. So, and I would like some time to meet offline and discuss this. So I would ask that this be remain on the list, but just be moved back to the first meeting in December to give us a couple of weeks so we could talk about this. Does that impact your schedule? Or
no, that'd be fine if that gives you enough time.
Yeah, I think we can do that in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, then this will remain on the pending items list and we'll revisit it the first week or the first meeting in December. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Rodney McCormick's request for cameras and security lights in the neighborhoods of 11th, 10th, and York Streets for safety. We were keeping this on the pending items list because we didn't know where the Flock or Raven equipment was going to be situated. So I suggest we just keep it on here. And the last item is I had requested approval for authority to approve event licenses for the farmers market and such. We've made some adjustments to our procedures. We no longer need this. And so I'd make a motion to remove this from the pending items list.
So moved.
Support? That's a motion.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. This concludes the business portion of this meeting. Now we're going to move on to public comment. And as I said many, many times, this comment section is reserved for matters that do not require board action. Any matter that requires a board action will need to be discussed on the public comment section of the board meetings, will not be discussed under the public comment section of the board meetings. And I want to suggest too to everyone, not only the ones that are here, but people who may be listening in, that forms are available at the clerk's office or on the city's website form center in case anyone wants to get onto our agenda. I'd also like to call attention to the board's resolution number 2823, which was enacted in December, actually December 6, 2021, signed by our former president, Andrew White. And you basically can read that at your leisure, but it requires that the public comment is limited to 3 minutes. All comments be addressed to the board president, not to individual board members, and that the matters that are at issue are germane to this board. Are there any public comments? I know that was a long diatribe, but after that, you probably don't want to comment. But is there any public comment? Hearing none, then is there any board comment?
None here, Madam Chair.
No.
Then do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Bye now.